Okay, so let's see here. We talk about bikes. I was thinking about bikes. I have to take out the spokes. I was thinking about like back in the past. I was a person that had to use his bike to get to and from school. I never really cared that much about it. Like we had rim breaking Walmart bikes that you know often broke down very quickly, right? Everything was cable stuff, all of that stuff. But after going through, because I need to re-spoke the rear wheel of my rim uh, for my e-bike I have, because it's breaking down and apart again. You know, like I actually use my bike all the time for gravel. There's lots of little bumps and terrain, and then I have flat because I have to get to hiking spots, and so it's like, oh yeah, no, I've already upgraded a bunch of things on it for what it's worth, but it's such a short bike, and it's also very far weighted in the rear. Everything's in the rear. It's like I already had to get a new seat because the seat was ridiculously painful to sit on, and then the tires kept popping. So I had to get wide tires to figure out with some tread that would make sense for that. That would hopefully help out with all the tire punctures, which means I had to get different tubes, which was fine because I went through so many freaking bike tubes popping the rear tire anyways, it didn't even matter. And meanwhile, I'm not even going fast, I'm not even going over holes, I'm like going over a regular road. And so it's like, those are pinch hits, right? And it's like, yeah, well, maybe. I'm trying to freaking air them correctly. But it's like, there's always something on the road, right? A rock, a staple, maybe a nail. There's like a sudden, just like when I was a kid, it'd be a thorn. A random thorn would be on the road or on the sidewalk, or you'd have to go around someone and you'd end up in someone's yard just briefly, and those little fucking thorns would destroy your bike. And you were walking for miles to get back. I had to do it so many times, it's insane, right? I was thinking about it because I was like, I used to constantly have to like ride my bike back in the day, and I never gave it a second thought at all. As the interrupters are here, obviously you can hear them, you know. But it's like, yeah, I never gave it a second thought. I slightly tightened the tension for the brakes as they would wear out eventually. The rim would turn into a potato chip. Just using it normally, right? And I was thinking about it, it's like, oh yeah, you could probably do the same thing with a Walmart bike by upgrading a few things. I think disc brakes, totally an upgrade. Worth it in every way. Never think that the rim braking would be worth it. Like, it's just not. So it's like, try disc brakes. If like you need decent brakes that last a while, try disc brakes. And then it turns into derailleur, so more gears. Like try and upgrade those gears. Totally worth it, every way. But then you go into, like, does it have springs? The front, like my front is in every way, like just angled down. Like it has almost no front. They expect it to be some sort of sport bike, I guess, or some shit. Yeah. But it's like, no, you have no idea how small the bike is for a person who's 6'4", like 215, 220 pounds. And even with longer cranks, I bought them as 172 or 175 or something like that millimeter cranks, and which means the pedal arms. They're fucking much better. But it's like with the seat barely in the place you're supposed to put the seat post in. And those cranks, I barely get like a full travel length of my long ass legs. You know what I mean? And all the weight's concentrated in the back, and I kept getting rear punctures or something, right? It always deflated, always popped. I had to keep getting new inner tubes. I say, alright, well, I'd maybe spray some oil on the chain every so often, or I'd tighten, you know, the brakes just down a little bit because, right, I needed brakes. You have to stop the darn thing, right? And then I realized it's like, yeah, I did all that when I was a kid and a teen, right? And truthfully, I never paid attention to the fact that it like was always uncomfortable. Things would break down constantly. We'd have to fucking send it back to Walmart constantly because it would break all the time. And we're like, it's cheap. And I'm like, yeah, it's also barely maintained. It's the spokes on the tires are not always tensioned right. The chain isn't always tensioned, Like you have to replace your chain every so often. You have to do a little more than just oil sometimes. You know? My bike seat was never in the right place. Handlebars either. As I've gotten deeper into this, because I have to use it. I have to use it every time I go out. If I want to go anywhere, I have to use it. And then it's like, it's going to go get me to any hiking trail through gravel ass roads that are bumpy as fuck. And all I have is a singular suspension fork at the front that's angled fucking down. You know what I mean? It's not really built for any of it. Most of the weight's all in the rear. And I realized that it's like, well, I could tell you to go to a bike shop. You know what I mean? And like get like a $800 to $1,200 bike. In every way, it'd be worth it. Same thing with like the derailleur. You remember I was like, oh, you upgrade to disc brakes, right? It's like you want more gears. Well, you might as well get a derailleur, right? It's like at that point, effectively have a brand new bike. You paid like what $400 probably for a set of new gears and a derailleur, and it's totally worth it to get a hydraulic or electronic shifting derailleur because the tension for the cable isn't required to constantly be shifted. It lasts longer. It's worth it in every way. You have suspension on your Walmart bike. Those springs are fucking barely a thing. Like it's either they're barely there or they're the hardest springs known to man. You know what I mean? Like you get no real in between. It seems like it's totally worth it to actually get the right thing. If you have to use it, if you are fully prepared to go and buy something and get to know, what the lifestyle, you know what I mean? Like if you really want to actually use your bike consistently, it's worth it in every damn way. And I have to re-spoke my rear tire, or rear wheel. I'm like, man, I have to get tape anyways. I have to get spokes, which I have to, because it's like, oh, the moment I take that tire off, the moment I deflate everything, the moment I get everything, I have to take the spoke out so I even know what length of spoke I need. And then I can't put it together, so I'm going to need the tensioner. I'm going to need all the tools anyways. I'm gonna need everything, regardless. I do. That is how that works. If you're gonna have to put it together yourself, because there's no bike shop around, you have to do it yourself. It's like, I don't get to use my bike. The moment that fucker's off, I can't put it back on until it's re-spoked. It's like, yeah, I probably need a new rim, to be fair. I mean, what's that going to cost? I'm looking into it. It's like, it's just all adds up. No wonder why I was like, pay for something worth it at the start that's not even an e-bike. And then go buy actual e-bike, universal kits and add that to that bike. Get a properly sized fucking bike for a person that's your size. Get real suspension, front and rear. Get a bike seat post suspension. Get it. It's 100% worth it. Like, if you're really if you're like me and that's gonna be your thing, that you have to use. There's no other vehicle. There's no one else that's gonna. You know what I mean? It's this and that's it. Rain, sleet, snow. I've gone through it. That's what this has gotten me through. You had better fucking actually learn how to repair and maintain that thing. Get the tools anyways. Get something decent. Don't get the cheapest. Don't do it. Like, that kit? E-bike kit? I doubt that that's actually the thing that you probably should have. If you're going to have to, like me, get your groceries to and from where you're at, you have to have a trailer. All the weight's concentrated in the back for something like this. It's like, I pump those tires up pretty darn high in the rear. And the front also as well, because I have to lean forward so far. So at this point, I'm basically making a brand new bike. You know what I mean? It makes no sense to really actually do what I'm doing. Like, even though I have this new crank, even though I have the better gears for it, because they're bigger and taller, and they work better that way for the e-bike. Even though I've got better brakes, look aesthetically much better too. Their dual piston pads are already running out, so that's another thing. Totally worth it to invest in something that will last a while. Like, fully expect to spend a decent chunk of like $50, maybe $150, $200, in that range for brake pads. Because it's worth it, because you'll have them for years instead of like months maybe of actual use. It's not like I'm like, man, it's all fucking day every day. That's just nothing but like constant No. This is every so often I go get groceries or I'll go hiking and I'll take my dog with me. Once a week, maybe once every 2-3 weeks, even a month. And these fuckers will run out in a few months. And you don't think about it until, like, that's what this is. Like, if you're willing to pay for cheap, you get cheap. That's what it is. Like, I have to do all the bearings up. Like, I finally got a new bottom bracket to be able to put this fucker on anyways. Because I needed one for it to even work. The other one had a fucking bent little axle for where the pedals were. Now it doesn't. The hub, the rim, and my front tire, slowly but surely, has been unraveling. So it's like I need to do the front spokes as well and tension them. But it's like fucking. I've already had to put in new bearings for that hub. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna have to get rim tape. I'm gonna have to take all. I have to get all of that, all of it, all of it. And it's like there is no rear suspension, and the front handlebar, suspension. I forget what it is called. I call it a yoke, but apparently it has a different name I should use. But it's like that fucker right there needs to be changed. I constantly hit my front tire with my foot all the time. Seriously, it's not even a joke. I do all the time. It's too close. It needs to rake forward. The angle is bad. And I can get a smaller set of fucking wheels. Sure, I guess. I'd have to get new rims anyways. I have to get new tires anyways. And it's like, oh, great, yeah, no, except, like, my crank is already barely off the ground. It's like, well, if I'm going to get all of that brand fucking... I mean, I maybe could get, like, an extra inch in terms of size for a rim. 27, maybe 28s. That's it, right? So it's like, well, I can make it bigger. That'd be a good thing, for what it's worth, because it'd give me more freaking suspension travel. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, that's $120 some dollars. Spokes are like fucking $40, to more, if we're being honest, for both sets. I get to get the tools. And then it's like, right. And then I need a bike seat post. I should be just getting a fucking change to my derailleur. I want to get rear suspension so bad. It is so terrible. So if I can find something that attaches to that fucking rear wheel that gives me suspension, I'm going to use it. Because it's worth it in every way. But it's like, now I got to change, unlike with the front, for the rear, because I have disc brakes, I have to have those disc brakes attached to that suspension thing. So it's like, it'll probably all be set up, but it's like, I have to do all of that. And it's like, that's 90. No, that's actually really closer to 100. That's 100. 200. It basically costs the same amount as the whole fucking bike did in the first place, which my mom bought. It was just like $800 or something. And truthfully, my handlebar keeps collapsing on itself. I've tightened this fucker down so many fucking times. This little fucking screw. I even put Loctite in it. And it still wants to fucking always come out. I can maintain all the time, but it's not good. I can try and repair this, but it's not good. You see what I mean? Like, the bike isn't actually a good bike. I'm turning the bike into something that would be considered something decent. And it's already a bike that weighs a fuck ton. At that point, I might as well just buy an actually decent bike. But it's like, well, $800 and then another $800, that's $1,600. Why don't I just get a fucking used vehicle? Because you have to pay for insurance on a vehicle, right? And you start realizing it's like, well, I can get a scooter or some type of other bike, like a 49cc, something. I don't have to have that insurance. That's why I've been thinking about 49cc engines forever. It's like, well, I have to do all of this. And oh, by the way, I got denied SSDI again. So I don't have SSDI. Trying to appeal that. Well, I sent them an email, my lawyers, on Saturday when I got the thing in the mail. It's like, this is stupid. It makes no sense at all to keep up with this. It's a fucking money sink. Like, all of that money that I'm going to sink into that, like, for real, I would actually, speaking, get more out of it if I just bought a fucking car. Like, for real, like, I get that all the prices go up, but it is something that it's like, oh, well, now it's years, like genuine years, all told, before I need to do serious maintenance, which that'll cost you, but like, that's like brake discs. That's like, oh, I need to change out shocks or something. You know what I mean? Like something serious, right? Versus like, oh, I just got some new brake pads. Like that's gonna cost you, but it's like, well, I could buy the brake pads. And then like get it changed. I can get new tires every so often. It's not like I'm gonna be fucking like traveling a ridiculous amount. 5,000 miles every damn day. I'm gonna run out of these tires so fast. You know what I mean? It's just such a weird one because it's like, no, it makes no sense at all to keep up with this bike. And if you get a new bike, then it's like, the fuck? What would be the point? I could genuinely just get a vehicle and have that work better for a longer period of time. The only problem is it's like, oh, right, insurance and gas. Gas is expensive. And insurance, monthly or yearly, is expensive. So it's like, oh, I take the hit and I go, okay, so now I'm going to go and try and make a, like $800 or, $600 or $500 or something like that. Whatever it is, right? Because that's what I'd be sinking into it. I have to text the mother here. It's laundry day, too. It's October 8th, I think it is. Something like that. But it's like, yeah, why in the fuck? Like, I need new rims anyways. Like, at this fucking point. Like, and so, it's like, then I need to get new spokes. And it's like, I already know I need a different fucking, like, suspension setup for the front. Like, I basically need a whole fucking new bike. if I really want to actually consider like moving forward with this bike as my main source of travel, which it is. It's effectively all got to go. Like the handlebars, the front suspension, the rear has to be changed to have something like rear suspension. I gotta get a bike seat post. The frame is basically all that's left, and in fact, at that point, I need a new battery because I've had it for like 2 years now. Heat and cold, it drains its ass so fast. Like I actually need more battery. The motor is okay ish. Like I would definitely prefer more, for sure. There are genuinely steep hills around that would help tremendously, even with the lowest gear I have, which is, perfect. Like all the gears for the front, like the new Shimano gear set that I put on that for the crank, totally worth it up until a certain point where it's like even my my much lower, way lower gearing ratio that I had, that it came with, was unable to go up those hills easily with the highest assist, the lowest gears for front and rear, to be able to go up some of these hills. And then if I want to actually use that to go deeper and then maybe camp, right? So I got the trailer, I can maybe camp a little bit, maybe I can go back and forth, right? Like, I take my stuff, I set up my camp, right? I enjoy myself out there. You get the fuck away from this place, right? It'll never make it. Like, I tried that. That's the whole reason. Like, I beat the battery. I posted all about it recently. But it's like, yeah. And it'll never make it there to any camp spot. Like, at all. Like, it's way deeper in to any of those camp spots. That battery's not good enough at all. And I can keep pedaling with myself, sure, yeah, no, but it's like this is a bunch of dead weight now. There's no way to charge it. It weighs so much already. Like, that's the biggest issue. They have way lighter frames. Way like yeah, sure, the motor and the battery can weigh a lot along with the controller. Okay, sure. But like frames can weigh a hell of a lot less than this does. And I'm gonna have to get bigger tires. And different rims, different spokes, bike seat post, handles, the whole front. Like, this makes no sense. Like, they're like, no, maybe five, two, because how much is a hub? And it's like, it's already adding up. Like, it's genuinely going to get to that 800 or more price range for wheel hubs, spokes, rims, tires, tubes, bike seat post, handlebar, front suspension. If I can find rear suspension, I'm going to get it. Because it's worth it. I need to get a new derailleur instead of having the cable. I need an actual real derailleur set that will last, because I go through so much dust and other crud to get to a hiking spot, or just through the friggin' streets, because they're not really very cleaned all the time. But that's okay, because they're cleaned enough. Like for a car going through, it's fine, right? But not for that. And it just goes stupid after a while. It's like, I need the longer fucking wheels. But it's, you know what I mean? Like, but it's like, oh, I'm already hitting the front wheel, and it was already as well with my smaller crank arms. And now I've got longer ones, so it's like, no, I definitely hit them now. You know? And I need them bigger because it's the longer crank arms means they get closer to the ground and I can't lean over as much to be able to turn because of that fucking, like, the whole thing basically needs to be changed. An extra inch would be tremendous if I could get it, except for that rear damn wheel, which is already pretty much hitting the whole controller box in the first place. Practically. The front I could get away with, but not the rear. You know what I mean? The front has a wobble in the rim anyways. And I asked them about truing it up at the bike shop when there used to be a bike shop. They sold their whole thing and now there's a new person there. And they don't do bikes. Or at least, not really. They did my bike a little. But that was it, you know? It's not really their whole thing. It's mostly just cars. It's just because people had it in the past and they left it there that they were even willing to entertain it. Started realizing it after a while. It's like, I need actually decent, long-lasting tires. Which means you're going to have to pay for decent tires. Same thing with brake pads, which I already need to replace. I have to get a hydraulic or electronic shifter, which totally way better because it actually shifts now. I don't have to constantly finagle the tensions to make it work. This hydraulic fluid doesn't need for you to retension it or replace it somewhere. It's still going to need to maintain it, sure, but like that's some oil and some, checking every so often. It's like everything effectively needs to be replaced on this. Yeah. Like from 26 to 27 inch tires now. That'll help out a lot with the crank. But it's like, no, I'll just keep constantly hitting the fucking front wheel with my damn foot if I ever try and turn the damn wheel. I need to change out the fork, and change out the handlebar, the bike seat post, like everything. I keep going on about it. I've said it already, but it's like, fucking damn it, man. It's actually very rough for me, I don't like it at this fucking point. It's like, there's nothing I can do about my bike being what my bike is. It's like, I can't find another. It has this battery case. I can find a kit that'll give me a different battery, but it's like, then that might not work with this electric motor because it has a specific type of connector. You know what I mean? That's all I get. That's it. I already had to go into the fucking battery controller. As in, I had to have them cut into it so they could actually put my crank in with the derailleur so that way it would be placed the right place. So it would work with my front crank gearing. Derailleur set, yeah. They already got new brakes, but it's like, yeah, no, well, they're cheap in terms of the brake pad, but like the actual brake part, that's good, you know, hydraulic part. But then it's like, yeah, but the brake pads are for sure something I need to replace completely already. And that's like a few actually decently long runs. Like 3 total so far since I've had them. And they are already something that I'm afraid to use now. For normal use. My battery's dying. What the hell am I doing? Just get a whole brand new bike. You know what I mean? Right? Like you have to get a whole brand new bike just for it to be worthwhile to continuously use, because it's going to be what I have to use. I don't have SSDI. It's not coming anytime soon. That's a year or two, however fucking many years that is, because I'm not going to stop. Because I know I have to get on SSDI because I can't work a job. My mom, who's on SSDI, my dad, who's near retirement, are the ones that are going to have to foot the bill. I'm sick and tired of being involved in their life. They're very much people that trigger me constantly, and they have fully still continued using their abusive language and more. I put it out on my fucking YouTube already. They're like, you can work somehow. I barely function daily. There's no job I can do. They're like, no, 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 no. We think that our determination of chronic migraines, degenerative foot arthritis, schizoaffective, PTSD, bipolar, major depressive disorder. Then I'm apparently borderline too. ADHD. Like, then I get this thing, and then they go, no, we only went back this far. I'm like, no, no, no. I have all of these other records that are very, very much a part of your determination that goes back way further than that. That's like maybe 2 years. You didn't even do the whole fucking 7 years from 2017. It's like 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Oh, 6. Okay, 6. For my first point in a mental health hospital, which, by the way, I had already applied multiple times before that and been denied. Then I got an SMI, seriously mentally ill diagnosis. I'm hard of hearing. That's always been the case. Since I was a kid. I've had hearing aids since I was a kid. Everyone can vouch for that shit. Been diagnosed major depressive disorder well before I ever applied. How the fuck did they deny me again? So I'm looking at this fucking bike as a distraction. It's like, I don't want to take off the fucking tire, because then I'm going to have to fucking do all that. But in reality, I know what that really means. I know what that tire really means. Long term. It means all of it has to change. The whole bike. Might as well not even be there. Like, why did I even try and put this together? What am I doing? This makes no sense. I might as well just buy a fucking bike frame, buy the tires, buy the rims, buy the tubes. Fuck it. Let's go fucking tubeless or some shit. You know? Get a decent fork. And then now it's like I have to have all the tools. I have to put all that somewhere. All of it. But, you know, it's worth it because guess what? This is going to be my main thing for years. I might as well have it. Which means at that point I'm going to spend like what? In no way me. But I'm going to have to ask my parents to spend what, 3K? You know, all told, tools, tires, the whole fucking thing, right? I have to put it all together myself. Why not just get a fucking vehicle? Why not? Why the fuck not? Seriously. It makes no sense to use this anymore. It's going to cost them, for years, more money than a vehicle will. And hopefully I've got SSDI. Because I'm not giving up on that. Ever. That's the truth. It's like, what the fuck does this make sense for? It doesn't. Obviously. It's like, it's a big ask, initial, but then that's years of not needing to do anything in terms of maintenance or anything. And then it just turns into gas money every so often, which they already give me money for my medication that isn't covered by my insurance. So it's like, here, just fucking, you know, that, right? And it's like, all right, then I have to pay for insurance. And it's like, yeah, it's once a year. That'd be tacked on with my own vehicle to their insurance. They already take care of my supplements and my medicine and my dog food for my dog and all my toiletries. So it's like, I know I can't ask them for that, because that's insane. Even if it legitimately, logically here, makes sense. It makes total sense to do it. It's like, oh, you're going to go gallivanting around. Oh, I'll go gallivanting around to a place where I can take my dog for a walk more often because I didn't have to spend an hour to 2 hours of biking to get there. Gallivant around, huh? Him, the guy who has genuinely no fucking ability to work, might go meet someone. Oh! You guys are lame as fuck after a while. End up realizing the mistake that is this fucking nation. It's just ridiculous. It is genuinely like that. Like, what am I supposed to do? How do I describe this to a bunch of people that would never understand the situation at all? Like, they really wouldn't. They've never been the homeless person. They've never had the fucking problems of non-functional, disabling levels of fucking mental disorders and more. Let's go pee real quick. So it's like, guess who gets to listen to me pee? It's like, yeah, there's no way for me to get around that. You know what I mean? Like, there really isn't. Like, that is actually speaking better for me in every way. Mentally, emotionally, physically, all those things. Like, the only worst part is it's more expensive, kind of. You know, at this point, it's like, yeah, I know, like, technically speaking, yeah, you haven't, like, spent tremendous amounts of money, except, wait, no, you spent $100 here, you spent $150 there, you spent another $100 there, you spent $20 there, you spent, you know what I mean, like, this is tires, this is a bike seat, this is, you know, cranks, pedals, gear set, tubes. Like, that's $30 practically every 3 months. Well, actually, you know, probably more than that, really. But, like, right? And then on some good days, or months, really, I don't have any flags. And I can just get away with, like, oh, I can just, you know, pump it back up and seems to work again. So far, the front tire's like that. And it's like the handlebars coming apart. Genuinely, it's just fucking breaking down. Like, every time I lean forward, I try and brake, the fucking handlebars are going, Urgh! I've had to retighten it every time. Which means that's a conversation I'm going to have with my mother, with, like, my handlebars are falling apart and I need new ones. Because, yeah, no, they are fully breaking. Like, they don't want to stay. It's the same thing as, like, with the crank. Remember, like, I was talking about how I had to change it because the thing got wobbly, right? So it's like, it wouldn't stick, and no matter how much Loctite, no matter what I fucking use, the damn bolt would come out. And eventually, it bent the bottom bracket axle. And so I had to get a new bottom bracket. And it's like, well, if I'm fucking doing all of it, it's just, fuck, okay, fine, I'll just get new crank arms and pedals, because screw it, they need to last anyways. You know? It's like, they need to last, like, they need to actually be good for a long time. Like, just fucking fine, whatever, I'm gonna buy, like, a decent thing that'll last. Try and yank it out, oh, what do you know? I don't care how much lever action you've got, dumb motherfucker. Like, you bought the tool, guess what, the tool doesn't work. Even though the tool worked for this part, but not this part. You know, it's like, wait, no, it works just fine. And then I go to the bike shop, which isn't really even there technically. They were like, oh yeah, no, I guess we could do that. So the people had it before, you know. Anyways, they go over there, and they have this massive, huge, like, breaker bar level with the same tool, basically, I have, that they got out, and you can see that there's, like, a fucking tube that they put on it, and, like, yank! Meanwhile, I'm doing the same thing, getting nowhere on mine. I'm like, this thing is too cheap for this. It's gonna snap. So it's like, finally got it taken off. But they had to do all the work. Turns out, I have a broken spoke. I've been avoiding the spoke thing for so long. And I can understand now why. Because, like, that shop, first and foremost, bikes aren't their thing. Right? And then it's like, right. And then, because I have a motor, it's the rear. So it's like, that's where the axle motor thingy is, right? So it means they're an odd, like, distance, you know, size of spoke. So it's like, I have to go find that somehow, somewhere, and have them be good. Not like, oh, they'll fucking break in like a year or two of use. No, they'll stick around for years. Which we're not even talking about a year or two. Like, realistically. Because, no, I didn't use it for a full year. At all. I used it every so often.
for like roughly a year and a half to 2 years. So then it turns into, oh, yeah, there's no actual way I'm going to buy something that's going to break down that quickly. I might as well buy something worthwhile. You know? I got through so many different tubes for my bike tires. So many. It's ridiculous, actually. Like, to put it in perspective, I've gone through more, most likely here, than 12 to 15 fucking inner tubes. They're the good brand, you buy those to make them last inner tubes. I got new tires that are wider. Okay, they're the widest, you know, like they're the kind of best that I could really reasonably find for that fucking shit. And now, they're not popping as often, right? But it's like, yeah, no, and then all of a sudden, they're gone. It's like, what are you running over? The road, some rocks sometimes. The rear is so loaded. Makes no sense. Makes no, like, it's like, oh, it's more expensive. Is it actually? I paid for inner tubes and upgrades to this fucking bike the same amount that insurance would have cost. And gas too. Than my mother and my father have. They don't probably see it that way. Because they didn't do the math. But it's that fucking close. It's like, honestly speaking, I'm about to upgrade all of this shit anyways, because I need to. And it's going to break down. I need to get new pads. You know, like, maybe it'll last a couple years. We'll see. You know? It's like maybe those new inner tubes, right? You know, they're like $15 to $30 a pop. Or a set, depending. That's gas. But at least I won't need any, upgrades for the derailleur. I need to get lube for my chain. And my fork suspension. And probably my rear suspension too. I'm eventually going to need to get that battery upgraded. At some point, I need a brand new battery. You know? You end up realizing it's like, that doesn't make any... Well, yeah, because like batteries die over time. Doesn't matter how much I beat them, they will die over time. So you go, right? Well, how long does the bike seat post last? How long does the forks last? How long does the next set of handlebars last? How long till I need a new chain? And the tools that go along with making it so I can put a chain on myself, since there's no bike shop. Same thing with the brake pads, right? Which that one's roughly pretty simple. Let's just take this thing out and then put it in. How many times, though, is that going to work until eventually it breaks and you need to get a whole brand fucking new thing to basically make that a thing they can do consistently? And you go like, oh, it's $5 here, $5 there, $5, $5, $20, $20, there's a 60, but then this is 10, this is 15, this is 10, this is 5. And then you start realizing it's like, what is this? What? This doesn't make sense. None of that makes sense anymore. You think it's cheaper, it's not cheaper. It's not that much cheap at all. Like, legitimately not much cheaper to run an e-bike consistently every damn day. Like, if you had an actual job, This would be way more expensive because you'll get more flats. By and large, for sure, you're getting more flats. It's like, no wonder why it's like you need to upgrade the tires. You need to upgrade all of that shit to make sure you don't get them as often. But you're going to get them. It's like, eventually you're going to have to get new spokes. Those will always break down eventually. Yeah, they're not rims. You will have to re-spoke your fucking rim. You're going to need to get a new battery eventually again. You'll eventually need to get a new seat. Fuck. Yeah. Fuck, right? Yeah. You know, like for real. Yeah. Fuck. If I'm going to do all of that, right? Makes no sense. To not just go fucking buy an actual car. Like, actually, just pay insurance and, you know, every year. Yeah. And just fucking get gas money. Like, brake pads take a long time. Tires too. All that. Like, that's a year, maybe 2 years, 3 years, something like that. You know? Because people don't really understand the maintenance cost. I think if you actually want something to last for a while, like years to decades, like as a thing you can keep using, like basic maintenance upgrade stuff. I've looked into belt drives, I've looked into this kind of chain setup, I've looked into axle, or, you know, kind of like the bottom bracket thing, you know, transmission style stuff. Like, all of it's expensive because it's effectively, it's like, it is a transmission, it's not a derailleur, and so you just use a belt. The belt fucking lasts tremendously long periods of time, but it's like, you can't put that on that, and you can't put it in the fucking, you know, place where there is an electric motor. So it's like, that's out the window. It's like, oh, I need new tires. Well, yeah, no, I already needed new tires. The tread's running down. I've used them so much that the tread is actually running down. It's been that long. A year and a half, basically, since I got them. It's like, what the fuck? I'm gonna ask my parents, one who has SSDI, one who barely makes enough money and is going to be retired soon, to do this. Because I have to. I can't walk. I can't walk the distance that I need to. There's no public transport. I didn't have the money for it anyways, even if there was. I won't. I'd still have to get it from them, which over time is going to add up anyways too. I still got toiletries. Still got need for dog food. And I have to have certain supplements because my diet, even though it's pretty good, it helps with my migraines, it helps with my body aches and pains, it helps with everything. If I don't do it, then it's like all of a sudden things are worse and I'm fucking worse. Mentally, emotionally, and physically. It keeps shit together. It's just a liquid multivitamin, a vitamin D, and a vitamin K. That's all it is. They buy me some oil that has a high concentration of omega-3. Because I can't get it from Safeway or any of the grocery stores. That's my omega-3 pill. You know, fish oil stuff. Cheaper though. It's not really meant to be cooked with. Meanwhile, I'm like, I go to them for my laundry as well. All the time. I'm going to them for my laundry. This doesn't make sense. Yeah, it does. I know. It's like, you're going to say this doesn't make sense. I'm like, this is bullshit. To them, it makes total, complete sense. Fine, suffer. I don't care. I know for a fact that you can't do any of these things, but I don't care. Because it says that. It's like, it impairs your ability to get some jobs. And I'm like, what? But we still think you could get other jobs. We didn't do all of the work that we really should have done, clearly. There's a lot more paperwork that they don't cite. Diagnoses that aren't there. I'm going up to some place, I guess, to have a court hearing. Yeah, going up to the judge now. I kept trying to talk to some motherfucker that's supposed to be my lawyer, but they're actually not the lawyer. They're the person that works for the lawyer. I was like, okay, sure, whatever, right? You know? It was like, what do they have? And they have all of this stuff. They didn't cite a single bit of it. I was like, do you think that they'll use it? Like, I want to make sure that they use that. You know what I mean? They never talked to the person. They left them messages. The person never responded back to them. They expect me to somehow pull out of my ass transportation. I did with my fucking abusive family. Whoever has a vendetta against me needs to fuck off and die, as far as I'm concerned. Same thing with this. It's like, no, fuck this. This is what helps cause my issues. The fucking government problem and the parental thing with the family. I'm never going to be able to heal if I can't get away from that. There's no job I'm going to magically be able to do. The only way that you think I can get to there is if I can get that done. Which, shocker, I can't, because I don't have the money to do it. It's an argument if I want to have even a small chunk of change to go do something for myself. Everything else is needs. I need these tubes. I need these toiletries. I need this, food for my dog. I need this tool now to repair my bike. I need this stuff for my bike because, yeah, it's pretty fucking hard to ride the damn thing. It sucks, actually. It hurts. Like, I'll push myself, but it actually does hurt to ride my bike. I get huge, massive cramps, or not cramps, dead and numb tingle feelings in my hands that make my fingers close slowly. And then eventually it'll come back after I, relax my arm and then keep trying to move my hand for a while. Same thing with my feet. It's like, oh yeah, no, I can totally, boom, Jesus, fuck, I can't move my feet. My legs are fucking like asleep, basically. Meanwhile, I'm like, I need to exercise a little. Jesus. I can eat as best I can. It's not going to change. The exercise still needs to occur. That doesn't change. I don't get all the nutrients that I need. And it's hard to even eat that well. Because it's expensive as fuck. They're like, no, it's not expensive. Yeah, it is, actually. Yeah. No, for real. You want to go plant-based milk? Fucking ridiculously expensive. Want to do any plant-based meat? Expensive. Want to do beans? Oh, I can barely cook hash browns that are already hashed and pour them into a pan and then stand over it and fucking cook that. I still do every so often, but I can barely get myself to do that. Let alone smear some cream cheese on a bagel. You know how many times I've been in my bed? It's only happened the one, but it's just like, man, I need to eat. I know I do. But then it's like, right. I don't want to even get up off my bed. And then I try and make some fucking bagels. And granted, I'm doing a mask. It's like, no, I'm still good. I'm good. I'll just fucking bagel. I got the massive migraine today for some fucking reason. I don't even know why. Nauseous. Personality changed. Everything hurts all the time. Everywhere. They're like, no, you can work a job through that. Oh, let me go talk to my abusers about getting me something that will help me. Let's go talk to my abusers about the validity and logic and reason behind actually a vehicle at this fucking point would make more sense. Long term. It will. You know what I mean? Like, it's just going to make more sense. In all aspects. Right there. No, it doesn't, and you don't make sense. You don't understand how expensive and blah 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 blah. You want me to heal, don't you? Yeah. You want me to go outside and exercise a lot more, right? Yeah. You want to pay less for that, right? Yeah. Huh. Like a scooter, we'll get a scooter. A scooter will cost more because there's way more maintenance for scooters. You have to change out oil, you have to change out generator bearings, you have to change out the belt. I went through the whole maintenance shit. It's way more money for a scooter. And if it's above a certain amount of CC of engine, you have to pay for insurance anyways. If it's less, yeah, sure, I guess. Not really, if you really break that down. At this point, I'm not going to say a word about it to them. I'm not. You wanna know why? Because I know that argument's never going to get done in such a way where they'll see the validity. I'll mention it, truthfully. It's like, oh, the basic maintenance wasn't that expensive. No, actually, when you add up how many times you had to do it, alongside of all the tubes, the tires, the brakes, all of it. Yeah, no, it was actually that expensive. You're not even adding my labor into it, by the way, because I had to do a lot of that too. Which, that's a valuable thing, by the way. Because it costs me mental and emotional stress. Which makes it harder for me to do other things. Like clean my apartment, put away my clothes, take my dog for a walk, get groceries, get to my appointments appropriately. What do you know? Those are not real costs. Those are not real costs. Oh, those are not real costs. My valuable time, my effort, my energy, my ability to do the things I need to do to be able to heal myself, not valuable. You need to be on the medicines that we want you on, says government. I tried them. I was on them for a year, or more, honestly. They didn't work. They didn't help. I ended up homeless anyways. Truthfully, tried killing myself while I was on them. I went to mental health hospitals again, several times, on them, and then I'd get off, of course, not because like, oh, because you got off. I was like, no, it's not doing anything. Nothing changed. I'm not suddenly flying off the handle or anything. Nothing changed, man. I was sleeping erratically. I was yelling just in a different place. I got better at hiding it. Nothing changed. They're like, no, it helps. No. I realize now that if I act the way I really am around you, you don't like that. If I set up boundaries, if I make sure that you respect them, if I make sure you understand and see and show off how you're acting towards me, you don't like that. If I throw it in your face as the doctor, how this can be attributed to other things that you even said, but then you hypocritically pointed out something else. You ignore the patient because he doesn't know. He couldn't possibly. With many years. Since I was 7, taking different medications. For years. And never doing better on them, really, except for my ADHD meds. Which even then, that's only slightly-ish. Not always. Like, no, you had to blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. They still want to fight. It's like I'm done with this argument. This argument's dumb. Like, if you, the judge, don't understand, I went through all of that already. Your evaluator of the case that you have doesn't understand that legitimately, when I didn't have the medicine, I got a job. and they maintained it. That's the antipsychotics. That's right. The only time I ever had an actual job for any length of time was when I didn't have antipsychotics. Forced on me. Yeah. I was more independent. I paid the fees for that program. I maintained my vehicle. Got it, oil changes, new tires, and more. I cleaned my apartment. What did I remove? Metformin. And bupropion. Antipsychotics did fuck all. Atypicals. Went through 3 of them. Mood stabilizers. Went through all of them. Kid, teen, young adult. Multiple times. It's like, gee, I have ADHD with a massive amount of very abusive family problems. The mood disorder stabilizer pills will totally change this. The psychotherapy is gonna fucking really change the disqualifying, invalidating, gaslighting, insane levels of enabling and excusing their behavior. Narcissistic. Just goes on and on. Behaviors that I had to deal with on a daily fucking basis. Every day, yeah. I am. They know you did not. I know all of your history. I was there. I'm you. Your emotions, your thoughts, your perspective. I am all of you. I know better than you. I am some dumbass previous evaluator in the past that knew nothing. I'm someone that thinks they know something. I see cases like you all the time. When you showcase that you're willing to step up and fight, which ultimately makes it so you'll crash later and want to die. And you do nothing for weeks to months on end, causing you massive panic attack, PTSD, depression, and more. That forces me to consume the idea that I have, my belief I have to. That you are functional somehow, some way. The bike, right? Look at these fucking idiots. You know what I mean? You get it? Court's done. You fuck ups. You lose. You're idiots. They don't even see the fucking truth in front of you because you deny all of the reality. You are literal. Need to be institutionalized people that evaluate me. You need to go into mental health hospitals and never come out. People that are evaluating me and judging me. You are that level of insane. You can't tell reality from fiction. You're a danger to the very people you govern. You are actually a danger to yourself by what you do too. You need to be literally held into those institutions permanently, forcefully court-ordered. Never to see light Again, all you will do is abuse your power and everyone else that goes through it. The system you govern. You shouldn't have money. You shouldn't have any sort of platform. You should have nothing. Moving on. That's the last cup of coffee. But that's what it is. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, I can present the truth. The truth of the matter is like, well, it's technically speaking going to be the same amount of money after the initial investment, which I need anyways, for all the fucking thing, which will take over time, which you can, claim that will be less expensive, but it's not. It's not less at all. It's like, eventually, I'm going to have to ask you for all of those upgrades. I do. I will. I know for a fact that handlebars will eventually break. I'll have to have you help me get new handlebars, and a new fork, and new suspension, and new tires, and new everything that I just talked about. And then, it's like, well, you know what? I'm going to need to do the maintenance anyway, so I need the tools. And you realize, it's like, well, what that investment is, that you think over time would be a thing, right? Like you can swing, whatever, right? No. If you understood how stupid you sound when you say that, it's like, no, you're the stupid. I'm a scammer talk. I'm gonna scam talk. You're stupid. You know what I mean? See what they're doing? I'll just reverse onto you. Uno. But it's like, actual truth and value of it is, that's how much that's going to cost, alongside of all of the tubes, all of the gear, everything I'm going to need anyways. Because it's all going to have to be there. I'm going to need the new tires, I'm going to need the new tubes, I'm going to need the new fucking spokes, I'm going to need the new rim. I'm going to need the bike seat belt, I'm going to need all of it. And I see what you're doing! You're going to say that I am stupid, somehow! For suggesting it would be more expensive. It's like, you are stupid for suggesting that. That's the thing. All of that will be over a period of time. And none of it will be worthwhile in the slightest, because it'll all be thrown out anyways. Or barely used once I do get SSDI. You know? The fuck am I doing, actually? I'll just take over the fucking insurance payments. I'll take over the gas money. Take over my toiletries. Take over my dog food. What? I have to do it anyways. I'm not going to keep asking them to keep fucking paying for that. You know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, no, it's ridiculous. The amount of money that it really does cost is insane. Makes no sense. Makes no sense to do any of this. At all, like this, at all, in any way. The initial investment, and then, well, you're already paying this amount anyways, every year, for maintenance, tubes, and me having to do work, or you having to spend gas money to go over to the place where there's a bike shop, or buy the tools, or whatever the fuck else it is. You'll have to spend that money regardless. You know what I mean? Like, it's basically the same as gas money, all the fucking tubes, every fucking, all the months. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, no, sure, I could do the initial investment and then like, oh yeah, no, over time it'll pay itself off, right? Okay? We're all on board. You know, I'm gonna really go for the gold, I guess. But it's like, why the fuck would I do that when I could just get a new fucking bike? I thought to replace everything on the bike anyways. Might as well just get a fucking actual decent bike. I still have to repair it. I still have to go somewhere to get it repaired if I don't have the fucking tools. Which then that's maintenance and cost. Now, the insurance, it's like, no, it's $600 a year. I'm like, yeah, fucking, I could see that. At this fucking point, that's probably what you've spent yearly in terms of tubes, maintenance, and all the rest of it. It's fairly close. It's like, but no gas money. It's like, right. Sure. No gas money. See what I mean? See what I'm saying? It's basically the same cost. But without gas money. You factor in the price of the damn bike in the first place, that's gas money for a few years. Do you see it now? You're wrong. You already knew that it was this cost in the first place. I have a trailer too. That's not, you know what I mean? Like, all of it all told. And you don't even value my time and effort. And your time and effort. In making it continue to be maintained and repaired. So I can still use it. Not to mention me not being able to do things because of course it causes me anxiety and issues. Just like with you. Which adds cost. So then when you add all that in, what do you get? It's actually cheaper to go with a vehicle. The vehicle was cheaper. Yeah, eventually you're going to have to get new discs for your brakes. Not just brake pads. Eventually you're going to need to get new chain. Eventually you're going to need to get new... Like, the whole thing is going to be repaired over time. Now, granted, some of that's going to last a long time. But this right now, it's not going to last. It will not last. That's the issue. You know, it's like, there's no way in hell it's going to last. It's just not. Alright, that's the end of this. Bye. See you guys. I'm going to do the laundry day next.